Fun part, I am using the Dior 5-color palette in Rosy Tan, and for those that have never purchased Christian Dior before, it comes in this dark velvet pouch that is dirty, and I don't know why I keep it in the pouch, but it's so pretty. And that's you see the, anyway, okay. So if you're gonna pay this much money for something, it should be pretty, right? So it's 5 colors, number 754, Rosy Tan, made in France, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I'm going to start real basic and then kind of build up if you want to go a little further. So if you wanted a really dark eye, I would say just put this all over the lid. A little more than I want to wear during the day. So I am going to try to recreate kind of the look I did for my video, my first grown-ass woman video. So I'm going to take this color here, it has no name, and I'm going to take a fluffy 217 brush and I'm going to put that all over my lid, and I'm going to show you how. The reason I am choosing, a lot of people would maybe go with this flat shader brush to pat it all over the lid, but I don't want the color to be that intense. If I mess up and put too much on, it's easier to put a little less on than you need and build up. So that's why I'm choosing a fluffier brush like this, because it is flat to some degree, and I can pack like that, but because the bristles aren't as dense, the color isn't put down as heavily, and it's a lighter effect. That's why, if you weren't familiar, and I only know this from watching 8,000 million videos, but you know, the denser the brush, the heavier the pigment, the color is going to be on your lid. So I would really recommend, if you're going to buy one brush to start with, it's the, this one is actually a Sigma one. There's a MAC 217 version, there's a Sedona lace version. I'll link all the various ones down below, but they all pretty much look the same in that they're they come out and then they taper to the top. They're kind of fluffy. They're sort of flat, so you can pack, you can blend, whatever. I'm talking too much, but this is a very forgiving brush to use, a very versatile brush to use, and I recommend it for all beginners and levels on up from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pat my brush, the flat side in and the tip into the color. So let me just do that down here so I can see what I'm doing. And then, because I know that I'm heavy-handed, I'm just flicking it like that. I used to blow on the brush. That's not very hygienic. I mean, it is my own germs, but still. So I'm going to close my lid. I've already primed my eyes with MAC Painterly Paint Pot. I don't do that for any other reason other than I have very translucent eyelids, and you can see all the veins and things going on under the surface, and I like a blank canvas. So that's why I choose to do it, not to prolong the use of my makeup or anyway. Okay, so I pat kind of in the middle, and I have a mirror right down here if you're wondering where I keep looking. And I'm just gonna pat it, and I'm gonna pat it, and right now I'm keeping it to under where that crease, see, I'm opening my eyes, see that crease? I'm going to build the color up a little more, but I'm keeping it down here to begin with. And I'm not going all the way to this inner corner either. I want to keep this a little brighter. If some gets there, it's not a big deal, but that's generally where I'm going. So at this point, I'm just patting. Now I'm going to go more to the tip and start bringing it up. I have hooded eyes, not extreme hooded eyes, but slightly hooded eyes. I always have, even when I was 12 years old. It's not an age thing, but it is going to get worse as I age, as my skin loses elasticity, unless I do something about it. Because this is a good look, right? So anyway, so because it's hooded, if I keep it to just where the crease, literally the crease in my eye is right here, when I open my eyes, you won't see any color, and that looks a little bizarre. So for those of us that have hooded eyes, which, like I said, is not necessarily an age thing, but it is a lot of us, bring it not to the crease, but to the socket. And I define the two differently. The crease I define as literally where your eye, the skin creases. Whereas the socket is the part where you can feel the occipital bone, the indent where if you were a skull, sounds gross, but if you're just thinking about just your skull, like where the eye hole is, the socket where you can feel the bone right there. I like to bring it up with the tip of my brush in tiny little circular kind of windshield wiper motions and bring it all the way up to the socket line. I'm basically faking a bigger lid. because it's all about faking it, right? And I even go in a little bit more because, you know, if I had a big lid, that's where it would go. I don't have a big lid, but I can pretend it, I do. And I don't bring it too far out. That's just a personal choice. You can bring it, I guess, to the edge of your eyebrow. I really don't. Okay. So we've got that. Now I've done both eyes. At this point, it's a good idea to look in the mirror and make sure you've brought the color up to the same level and darkness on both eyes. Nobody's eyes are 100% the same shape and symmetrical, so you might have to fake it and bring it up a little higher on one eye than the other. And there you go. Okay, this is using one shade of eyeshadow only, which I recommend doing if you're a beginner. What I would recommend is getting a blending brush, which is even fluffier than this one. You can see. The MAC 224 is your kind of standard one. Like I said, other brush companies make a similar version. I find that Sedona Lace's version is denser, so I don't like using it for this particular portion of the tutorial. My favorite is this Walmart double-ended brush that I can't find anymore online, but if you see it in a store, grab it. It doesn't even have a label. It comes in a set of 2 or 3 brush, like 2 other kinds of double-ended brushes. So if you see something that looks like this in Walmart, grab it. Okay, so just to soften it up, and if you feel more comfortable, you can dip this in your skin tone colored matte eyeshadow like MAC, blank type MAC, Brulee, Wet n Wild Brulee is another favorite. Anything like that, and just kind of go along the edges. You don't want to get rid of the color, but you just want to kind of blend it a bit so that it doesn't just have this harsh ending line. All you want to do from here is maybe run a little eyeliner across the lash line. Good to go. However, if you want to have just a little more, there's a bunch of things you can do from here. You could take this color, which is a little bit shimmery, use a fluffy brush so it's not too shimmery when you put it down, and highlight up here and put it in the inner corner. I'm going to put it in the inner corner, and I'm going to use this little EOS crease brush. It's teeny tiny, it's a little pencil brush, so it can get in there, and I'm literally just dotting it along the tear duct area and kind of pulling it up in that natural indentation and pulling it in just a little bit. Basically, that just adds a reflective light to the inside of your eyes. It makes them appear bigger and brighter. Now, if you have really wide-spaced eyes, like if your eyes are, look like they're on the side of your head, then maybe don't do that. But for the vast majority of us, this is a very flattering, not a big addition, but it does help. And I bring it a little bit underneath the eye as well. And if you feel like it's too much, just take your middle finger and kind of pat it, and that'll press it into the skin and blend it out a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to take my Sedona lace brush, because it's a little denser, and there's a couple ways you can go here. You can use a slightly lighter shade in the same color family along the fake crease line you've got going here, just to kind of ombre that effect a little bit more. Or if you want a kind of funkier transition color, if you will, the transition meaning from this shade to the skin tone shade, you can even do a little pink. Because I'm gonna do both because I'm gonna layer. So first I'm gonna do this color. I'm filming this on Valentine's Day, so I want to add a little pink to my look. And I'm literally just placing it. Do you see literally where the color ends here? I'm putting my brush so it's half on the color and half off the color. And I'm just sweeping it back and forth. It's a very subtle difference, but it helps blend out that color, and that's what makes your eyeshadow look a little more done, a little more professional, if you will. Not that I'm a professional, but you know what I mean. So it's very subtle. But because it's Valentine's Day and I want to have a little fun, I am also going to take this pink and I am going to I'm going to place it the same place I just put, a little lower, but basically the same place that I just put that transition color. It's a subtle, very subtle bit of pink, but it does kind of change it a little bit. And just for kicks and giggles, again, I'm going to take my middle finger, which looks all pruny and wrinkled. Been washing dishes. I'm going to put it in there, and I'm just going to pop it in the middle of my lid. And then I'm going to take my really fluffy brush, the 224, and just lightly go back and forth so that it's a little blended in. And that's it. I have decided, just for my purposes, I'm going to take this lighter shade and run it underneath my eyes, just to kind of make the look a little more finished. Again, it's subtle, but it's helpful. One last thing, I am going to add a little shimmer highlight shade. I know I said originally not to do this, but I want to show you how you can do it and get away with it. I just tap a bit off, and then I very lightly stamp and then blend. And it's pretty subtle. To be honest, I would have preferred to use the matte shade, the matte bone color shade, but I don't have it with me, it's in my bathroom, so I'm just blending it out a lot, and it won't be too bad. So I'm just gonna go, oh, there's one more thing. Okay, so just to make it even more complicated, if you don't wanna use eyeliner, or you're like me and forgot it in the bathroom, just use your darkest color. Either use a pencil brush, or you could even use the tip of this flat brush, which I'm going to do. Dip it in that dark color, tap it off, and I'm stamping it along the lower lash line. Right at the base of my lashes. You can do a couple passes. Anyway, that is how you could start with just one shade, and then if you want to add more and more and more, hopefully this showed you how to add a few more colors to I call this like, I guess, an ombre look, where you start dark and you get lighter, 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 lighter. So hopefully that was helpful. Please let me know if it was, and if it wasn't, be nice and still let me know, because I want to know how to make these better for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.